What is going on, guys? Money Webby here, back again, week 8 with my favorite DFS picks of the week. Few guys at every position I'm extremely high, and I think they can have huge games in their matchups. So before we get going, slap a like in the video if you're enjoying the content. If you want to see this coming every single week, it really helps me out. Let's try to get over 300 likes yet again in this video. If we can do that, that'd be amazing. So definitely drop that like. And also, if you haven't subscribed yet, or if you want to continue to get these videos week in, week out, and I also do NBA DraftKings videos as well, hit that subscribe button. I'm around 150 subscribers away from doing a giveaway, so I can give back to you guys for the overwhelming amount of support. So definitely do that, and let's get into it. First quarterback up is Aaron Rodgers. He's finally looking healthy. He's finally practicing in full for the most part, so the knee should be closer to 100%, and this is a really good spot for him to get it done just in fantasy purposes, as I expect this Packers game or a Packers team to be down here to the Rams. They're 9.5-point underdogs, and also we have the highest amount of points projected on the slate with a 56.5-point total. So the Packers, they could be down around like 10 to 14 points and have to abandon the run game like they've done the last 2 weeks of 46 and 52 pass attempts. That has meant a lot of upside for a guy like Aaron Rodgers, where he's gotten 31 and 33 DraftKings points. And also, it seems like he's a little bit underpriced at 6,400 in this game. Like, we know against any defense, like, Rodgers can get the better of them. And against a Rams defense that is down their top corner still and a keep to lead, they don't have those guys on the outside that can keep up with every wide receiver at the Packers have. They have some depth there and now a wide receiver with guys like Valdez-Scantling stepping up. You're going to get maybe Randall Cobb back, maybe Allison back. You got a Quantum St. Brown looking pretty good. So there's a lot of different ways the Packers offense can beat you nowadays, and the Rams just don't have the depth to get it done. They're top heavy with the defensive line, and also the Packers have some good pass blocking. So this is a really good spot for Aaron Rodgers to get it done, working from behind for the most part. And even if he isn't, I think he can get it done through the air against this Rams defense. So that's my first quarterback. If you want to pay up, a great game and just situation there for Rodgers. And for my second guy, Russell Wilson here at 5,900, really good value, and it looks like he's finally trending up. As the thing you want with Russell Wilson is always for him to run the ball, because that's how you get that upside from him, and he was finally able to do that with 6 rushing attempts as most of the year by 2, so that's a great sign. He had a bye week, so he's finally probably healthy, I would imagine, so he can definitely get a few more rushing yards again in this game against the Lions, and this is a better game script than what he had against Oakland last time out. They're up the whole entire game. They were killing them. They won 27-3, so they weren't really having to pass the ball that much, even though they were kind of passing the ball a little bit more based on the game script, like 23 attempts, and they were kind of taking some deep shots with guys like Moore, Lockett, even Baldwin got more involved, so that's a really good sign, I think, for the Seahawks going forward. Just for Russell Wilson's upside and fantasy. And also the Lions just traded for a good run stopper and Damon Harrison, snacks from the Giants. So that could bolster up the defensive line a little bit and make Russell Wilson and the Seahawks kind of lean on the passing a little bit more here in this game. So this game could honestly turn into a shootout. The Lions have a good offense. The Seahawks could be coming from behind on the road here at Detroit. So a really good value at 5,900. I think he can reach that upside again here in this game at a really good price tag. So that's my second quarterback. And then third guy up, Baker Mayfield. Recommended them last week. He didn't have a great game by any means, but he got it done for fantasy purposes. I mean, he had 20 DraftKings points at only 5,800. Now we're getting him at another solid price at 5,700 here, going against another bad secondary in Pittsburgh. And their strength of their defense is the run defense. Their run defense. So that could mean Nick Chubb gets some less rushing attempts and could be some more yardage for Baker Mayfield. He only had 215 yards passing, but things could open up a little bit more here in this matchup, as there's some good spots for both Jarvis Landry and David Njoku. They're kind of their top pass catchers. And also Duke Johnson, I think, could get a little bit more involved in this game against his zone defense of the Steelers. So another team here, like Aaron Rodgers, I could see Baker Mayfield working from behind. They're 8-point underdogs in this game. So that means he could get a few more pass attempts and get closer closer to 40 pass attempts in this game. So a really good spot at 5,700 for Baker. And also, the Steelers have allowed a good amount of rushing yards to quarterbacks. Tyrod Taylor, he ran for 77 yards against them week 1, and he had a good game just kind of primarily on that reason. So Baker could get closer to 20 to 30 rushing yards to add to his floor and his ceiling like we saw last week against Tampa Bay. So that's my final quarterback. The two value guys with Baker Mayfield and Russell Wilson. And then you got Aaron Rodgers up top, who always has great upside. And for my first running back, James Conner, another great spot for him. Looks like Le'Veon Bell doesn't want any part of this week. It seems like he's still holding out, so that means another heavy workload for our boy James Conner, who has been put in work this year, especially the last 2 games, 31 and 37 DraftKings points. And he actually had his best game of the year, week 1, against this same Browns defense. He had 38 DraftKings points in that game. He won 31 for 135, his best rushing game. So really good ability again here against this Browns rushing defense. Pro Football Focus actually has them graded out as the worst rushing defense in all of football. And the Steelers probably had the best rushing just blocking. Their offensive line is extremely good with run blocking. So I could see James Conner having a lot of holes in this game and proving Le'Veon Bell for being an idiot right again in this game by holding out and making James Conner look like a beast. So a really good spot here. The Browns are allowing the 5th most rushing yards to running backs on the year, and the Steelers are implied 29 points as well in this game. So Conner could easily get 1 or 2 touchdowns, get a ton of yardage, and he's been very active in the receiving game as well. So at 7,500, nice price tag for a guy that can definitely finish as a top 5 running back again this week. And for my second guy, Kareem Hunt at 7,100, another extremely good matchup for him going against Denver. He had 121 yards against them rushing, and he had 6.4 yards per carry. So he was very productive in that game. The Chiefs are going to put up a lot of points on this Broncos defense, I would imagine. The Broncos running defense has been really bad in the last few weeks. They allowed 200 yards to Todd Gurley 2 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, they allowed 200 yards to Isaiah Crowell. So Kareem Hunt, really good running back, and definitely kind of pound the rock against this defense again this week. And they're 10-point favorites, so a positive game script in their favor of that running attack as well. So a really good spot again here, like I mentioned, at 7,100. I feel like he's underpriced, honestly, in this game, considering how well he's been doing over the past few games. Like, he's had almost 30 DraftKings points in 3 out of the last 4 games, and one of those matchups was against the Jaguars, which he didn't do that good. So, like, you kind of throw that matchup away, but really good stuff from Kareem Hunt. He's looked extremely good. So that's going to be my second running back. I love a pairing of James Conner and Kareem Hunt if you can make that work, because I think both those guys could go over 20 to 30 DraftKings points in their selective matchups. And for my third guy, Marlon Mack going against the Raiders. Another terrible run defense, and Mack has been trending up. He's been running the ball extremely good over the last 2 weeks, 6.6 and 7.4 yards per carry. So there's no reason for the Colts to go away from him in this matchup. He got the majority of the carries last week. He had 19 to Nyheim Hines 5, and then Wilkins kind of took over the garbage time role with 6, as Wilkins didn't have any carries actually in this game against the Jets. So it looks like Marlon Mack and Hines are really the only 2 running backs to worry about in this matchup, and Hines doesn't really run the ball that much either. So in this matchup, I think the Colts are going to be up in this game against a Raiders team that looks like they're tanking, looks like they don't want to win any games, or at least maybe they'll be close in this game, but still they'll be in, like, the Colts will have a spot in this game where they're able to run the ball, I think, the whole entire time. So Mack, he got 56% of the snaps as well last game. So I think he can get around like 20 touches again here against a really bad Oakland defense. And Mack's looked really good to me. He's looked speedy. He's looked like more decisive with his running, not trying to bounce it outside as much. So a really good spot at 5,400. I think he has elite upside again here in this game. So that's my third running back. And for my final guy, more just a salary relief guy, with not crazy upside, but Jalen Richard here at 4,200 going against the Colts. Like I mentioned with this Raiders team, they're probably going to be working from behind. I would imagine they're not going to be doing that great in offense or even defense, as they've got rid of 2 of their best playmakers in Amari Cooper and Khalil Mack, and also Michael Crabtree isn't on the team anymore. So like this offense and defense can definitely struggle in this game. So that means we could see a lot of Jalen Richard in this game, and they just lost beast mode as well, so that's a big part of their running offense, and that means that Rashard could get closer to like 5, maybe even like 8 rushes in this game. He actually came out and said that he's expecting more rushes prior to this week, so like a really good spot for Rashard just in that sense, and the price tag of 4,200, and he's already been extremely involved in the receiving game, even with Amari Cooper in the lineup. He had 7, 6, and 6 catches 3 out of the last 4 games, and 9 catches against the Rams week 1. So, like, he has the upside receiving, and great for PPR, and a really good value at 4,200 for a guy that I think can give you double digits pretty solidly week in, week out if they just continue to keep him on the field. So, at 4,200, and Derek Carr, he loves to check it down. So, that's my final running back there. A salary relief guy to go along with Kareem Hunt, James Conner, and also Marlon Mack to go up and pay up for them. And then you can mix in Jalen Richard maybe at the flex position or something like that to save some money. And now for a wide receiver, Davante Adams is a great pairing with Aaron Rodgers. I like that stack a lot here. As, like I've been mentioned, I think the Packers are going to be down, and also that means Davante Adams is going to be extremely involved again here. In the last 2 games and just the last 3 weeks, the guy's averaging 14 targets a game. That's some elite stuff. And at 7,900, I honestly think he has a top upside of these wide receivers on the slate, like Tyreek Hill. They could easily be up in this game and kind of go away from him in that spot. Antonio Brown hasn't been that great this year, honestly. He's been struggling against some outside cornerbacks, and Denzel Ward looked really good against them week 1. AJ Green, I thought about going him, but I feel like the Cincinnati Bengals could get up in that game. And also Joe Mixon has taken away from the passing game a little bit. Since he's been back, they haven't been passing it nearly as much. So I feel like Davante Adams is just in the best kind of situation here, as I think the Packers will be throwing the ball like 45 to 50 times here, meaning Davante Adams could get close to 15 targets again here in this game. Their outside cornerbacks aren't great without a keep to leave, so he can definitely burn those guys, and he is huge in the red zone, can get a touchdown or 2 in this high-scoring affair. So at 7,900, a Raj Devontae stack can go a long way. So that's my first wide receiver. Then Jarvis Landry. You can stack him up with Baker Mayfield as well, getting a shit amount of targets every single week, 15, 10, 11, 10. He's just been very involved. And when he had the good matchup last week, he finally took advantage of it. Like I mentioned, I recommended them last week. I just had really tough matchups with the Chargers and Ravens the 2 weeks prior to that. But now that he has a good matchup, again here against the Steelers, I think he can get it done. He went 7 for 106 in that game against them week 1 with Tyrod Taylor throwing in the ball. So if he can do that, I think he can do it again and be like 8 for 100 with the touchdown in this game at 7,200. So really good upside. And like I mentioned with Baker Mayfield, I don't know if I said this, but the Steelers' run defense is their best spot in defense. So I feel like Jarvis Landry in the passing game is just going to be the priority of their offense for the Browns, and just how they kind of beat the Steelers offensively. So that's my first wide receiver. My second wide receiver at a nice price tag with good upside in Jarvis Landry. And for my third guy, another slot guy, Doug Baldwin here at 5,500. He was really involved and looked really good against the Oakland Raiders last time out, which is a good sign going forward for him. We had that bye week last week, heal up a little bit, get those knees fresh for this game against Detroit. This is a really good game a really big game for the Seahawks as they're fighting for that wild card spot. I guess the Rams pretty much have that division locked up, and the Detroit Lions is a team that they're going to be fighting with for that wild card spot, I think. So if they win this game, that'd be huge for the outlook the rest of the season. And Doug Baldwin, a really good matchup on paper, as Darius Slay. He's a cornerback that does shadow against top wide receivers, but he never really follows them into the slot. So Doug Baldwin, a guy that plays primarily in the slot, I think you can avoid Darius Slay and see these lesser cornerbacks like Nevin Lawson and Tez like Tabor on the outside, some guys that have been getting burned and not looking that good. And even Darius Slay hasn't been that great this year, even if Doug Baldwin does see him for a few snaps. So I think Doug Baldwin continue the upward trend here in this matchup. A nice price tag at 5,500. And like I mentioned with Russell Wilson, they could be more active passing the ball with their run defense a little bit better with snacks, and also the Lions offense is really prolific. They could score quick, and Doug Baldwin could have a really good game here going against the Detroit Lions. So that's my third wide receiver. And for my final guy, a little bit of a flyer, but Martavius Bryant. If there's ever a week for him to get it done, it's going to be this week, I think. With Amari Cooper finally out of the picture, I can get close to like 100% of the snaps or something like that, as he only got 45% of the snaps on the whole entire year with Amari Cooper kind of in his way. But now with him gone, The targets and just opportunities are finally there for Martavis to have a consistent kind of week. He has shown flashes of big plays, like he won 3 for 91 against the Chargers, 3 for 51. Like, those aren't even bad weeks considering his price like at 3,700. Obviously, you'd want more than that, but I think he can have his like a 5 for like 80 game here, just working from behind. He's really good after the catch. I know that Derek Carr isn't great throwing the ball down the field, but I feel like Martavis Bryant could just make something work here. He's kind of like fighting for his NFL career this year as the Raiders kind of are looking towards the future. So if he does really good the rest of the year, like, he could be a future piece for this Raiders offense. We know he has the talent. We saw it in Pittsburgh. So if he can continue that in a really good matchup against the Colts, he's going against their worst cornerback in Harrison, who's allowed the most yards for them. Then this could be a really big game for Martavis Bryant to build on for the rest of the year. So he's going to see some more targets most likely. 3,700, an extremely good price tag. So that's my final wide receiver if you want to take the flyer on him and save some money. So Jarvis, Devontae, Doug Baldwin, Martavis Bryant are their wide receivers that I'm looking at. And now for tight end, David Njoku, I'm going back to the well here. I mentioned him the last 2 weeks, but he has another good matchup here going against Pittsburgh. Like, he's faced off against last week he had the worst defense against tight end, or one of them. Now is another one of those in Pittsburgh with Baker Mayfield and just the over-the-middle kind of stuff. He's looked really good connecting with Baker Mayfield, and he has 2 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. So those are kind of the reasons why I like him. Pittsburgh, like I've said time and time out this year, their zone defense is very lackluster. Their cornerback play isn't bad. Joe Hayden's not bad. Other outside cornerback isn't very good, but the Browns really don't have outside wide receivers that can really take advantage of that. So I could see Njoku honestly getting some more targets in this game, getting closer to 10. With Nick Chubb kind of being less involved against that good run defense. So at 4,600, he has a lead upside again this week, so that's a really good play. As my first tight end, for my second guy, O.J. Howard again here. I recommended him over the last few weeks as well, but Jameis Winston just loves him. He's got 9 targets. I think that was actually his most of the year. Yeah, 9 targets was his most of the year. Cincinnati, another team that can't cover a tight end they can't just cover tight ends at all. It's just pretty plain and simple. They struggle a lot against them. O.J. Howard, way too athletic for their linebacker and just kind of safety play. So a really good spot for O.J. Howard. I think he can have another like 5 to 6 catch effort. And honestly, he was like 1 yard away from reaching the end zone last week against the Browns. He had a crazy good catch and then dove for the touchdown, but he was like a yard short, which kind of sucked. But he's definitely going to be a threat in the red zone again here. And last week, honestly, they were up the whole entire game against the Browns. But against Cincinnati on the road, I could see them be working from behind a little bit more in this game. And O.J. Howard could honestly have more upside in this spot. So that's my second tight end. And then CJ Uzomah, the tight end for the Bengals. He's been really solid over the last 2 weeks. He's been getting the majority of the snaps. He actually played 57 out of the possible 59 snaps in Week 7. So that's a really good sign for his upside in Tampa Bay. Another defense that sucks against tight ends. So I'm pretty much just targeting the worst defenses against tight ends and guys that have some good salary and good opportunities. Like, all those guys are getting a good amount of targets, a good amount of snaps, and just routes on the field. So CJ Uzomah, really good value, 3,500 if you want to pay down for him. So those are my tight ends. Uzomah, Howard, and then David Njoku as my first guy. And then for defenses now, the Skins defense, Giants offense looks really inept, and I think the Skins honestly have a really solid defense. They can get some sacks against Eli Manning and this putrid offensive line. Eli Manning, even when their pass blocking is good, he's holding onto the ball too long and then getting sacked. So I could see them getting around 4 to 5 sacks in this game, making him pick maybe once or twice, maybe a fumble out of Eli. Their offense just kind of is good against fantasy defenses. So the Skins here get it done. Falcons defense looked like a good defense against the Giants. So at 2,700, really good value as my first defense there. And for my second defense, the Colts at 2,900. Going against the Raiders, like I mentioned, the Raiders looks like they're trying to lose the remainder of the season. They have not much to work with on offense. Derek Carr isn't a good quarterback. Colts defense actually has been pretty solid this year. One of the top defenses, like one of the underrated top defenses, I would say. And they're getting healthier, so I think they could keep this Raiders team kind of out of the end zone for the most part. Maybe they allow some yards in garbage time to the guys, like I was saying, like Jalen Richard and Martavis Bryant. But I just feel like they're going to get some turnovers, get some sacks, and just be able to do enough have a huge game here at 2,900. And for my final defense, the Cardinals here going against CJ Beathard. He looked pretty good last time out against the Packers when I saw him. But he's still just not a good quarterback. And the Cardinals defense isn't too bad. They made him look really bad in week 5. They had 2 picks, 3 fumbles, 4 sacks, and that was at San Fran. Now he's going to Arizona. They could be a little bit angry after that ass whooping that they got in Denver, 45-10. So this is a nice bounce back spot for the Cardinals here. And Patrick Peterson, he just came out and said that he wants to continue to play for the Cardinals, and maybe he'll show off a little bit of his ability this week in like an angry kind of game where those kind of things are coming out that he wanted out. So maybe this is kind of like a Super Bowl kind of game for the Cardinals. Just win one and then kind of feel good about their season the rest of the year. So 3,200, a nice little price tag there considering how turnover prone Beathard can be. And just the ability of the Cardinals defense, which isn't too bad, honestly. Their offense kind of kills them and puts them in bad spots a lot. So that's my final defense. So the Cardinals, Colts, and the Skins are the 3 defenses. And those are my plays for Week 8. Got some great value, guys, some great upside, and everything like that. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. You can slap a like if you did. Subscribe if you enjoyed it to continue to get these videos week in, week out. Comment any questions down below in the video. And you can follow me on Twitter at MoneyWebby. If I update any plays or tweet out about any other guys, like I tweeted out about Kerryon Johnson last week when the Theo Riddick news kind of came out as the injury report kind of comes out during the week and opens some things up for other guys. So good luck on the Week 8, though. We'll see you back here again with my GPP video and tournament takes later in the week. So good luck. We'll see you back here again next time.